Hi, I'm Josh, host of The Furnace, and today we're going to cover the war in Iran, a topic that's divided the church for the past month from a Christian point of view. It's time for the Burning Bulletin. The ongoing conflict involving Iran has quickly become one of the most significant global developments in recent months. As tensions escalate, many believers find themselves uncertain about how to process what they're seeing. Some feel compelled to support one side or another, while others are troubled by the scale of destruction and the losses of life. Rather than reacting immediately, it is worth slowing down and approaching the situation with clarity, context, and a biblical framework. The conflict follows a series of escalating tensions in the Middle East. Coordinated military actions by the United States and Israel have targeted Iranian military infrastructure, leadership, and strategic sites. Those actions were presented as necessary measures to counter ongoing threats and destabilizing activity in the region. In response, Iran has launched retaliatory strikes using missiles and drones, targeting both military installations and allied positions across the region. The war has not remained isolated, as various regional groups have become involved, increasing the risk of broader and more prolonged confrontations. In addition to military targets, the impact on civilians has been significant. Reports indicate that infrastructure damage, displacement, and civilian casualties have already begun to rise. As with most modern conflicts, the consequences extend far beyond the battlefield, affecting families and communities who have nothing to do with any of this. Can you tell that I'm a little annoyed? Now, in case you think this is a black and white issue, I don't want you to be deceived. Sure, radical Islam is responsible for lots of modern atrocities, but don't be so eager to write off Iran as the bad guys and us as the good guys. Nobody gets to be the good guys in a war where innocent people are dying. I love America, but I'm not obligated to support any nation that would bomb a girls' school and kill 150 people just because I don't like that country's majority religion. Israel is also highly suspicious in this war. Just days before the first strike, Israeli media group I-24 accused Iran of overtly confrontational symbolism. What was that symbolism? Simple. They were burning statues of Baal. You know, the ancient Canaanite deity of child sacrifice? Yeah, that one. Not to mention that completely blasphemous clip of Netanyahu comparing Jesus and Genghis Khan. Listen to this.
Jesus Christ has no advantage over Genghis Khan. Because if you are strong enough, ruthless enough, powerful enough, evil will overcome good. Aggression will overcome moderation. So you have no choice. If you look at the world as it is today, you have to be blind not to see that the democracies led by the United States have to reassert their will to defend themselves and to oppose their enemies in time while there's still time, before the jarring gong of danger wakes them up and wakes them up too late. This is where we are now. The fact that people don't see that, the fact that a lot of the news media are harking on a lot of fake news, but also a lot of short-sightedness, and do not see the historic period and the historic struggle that we are engaged in now, doesn't obviate these truths.
I'll let you guys unpack that because I'll be here all day if I do. You see, Scripture doesn't just provide a direct command about how to respond to every modern geopolitical conflict. However, it does give clear principles that shape the posture of the believer's heart. Proverbs 24:17 and 18 say, "Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest the Lord see it and be displeased." The word is clear. Even when dealing with enemies, Muslims, whatever, God warns his people against taking satisfaction in their downfall. Jesus expands on this principle in Matthew 5:44, saying, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." God establishes a standard that goes beyond natural human instinct. He calls us to respond to hostility not with hatred or celebration of harm, but with prayer and a desire for redemption. These principles do not eliminate the complexity of global conflict, but they do clarify the posture Christians are meant to maintain. Christians may, in good conscience, hold different views about the actions of governments or the justification of military force. Scripture allows room for thoughtful disagreement in these areas. However, there are certain responses that should remain consistent regardless of one's political perspective. Christians are called to recognize the value of every human life, including those living in nations that oppose their own. They're called to grieve the loss of innocent life rather than celebrate it. So be real with yourself. If you hear news that Donald Trump just dropped a bomb on someone's head and your first reaction was, "Heck yeah, take that, terrorists," instead of grieving for lost souls on their way to hell, then you're in the wrong. No question. Remember, our primary identity is not rooted in nationality, but in our relationship with Christ. In times of war, it's easy for attention to be consumed by political analysis and ongoing developments, and while awareness is important, it should not displace the central mission of the Christian life. And what is that? The call to make disciples, to share the gospel, and to reflect the character of Christ remains unchanged regardless of global circumstances. The people affected by this conflict, whether in Iran, Israel, or elsewhere, are not merely participants in a geopolitical struggle, they are individuals made in the image of God, many of whom have never encountered the message of the gospel in a meaningful way. For Christians, this reality should break our hearts and shape our priorities more than any alignment with a particular side. Believers are not called to celebrate destruction or to reduce human lives to political outcomes. They're called to respond with compassion, restraint, and a commitment to truth and love. On that note, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you at the next Burning Bulletin.